Hey, yo, folks! Good news! Sgt Sean Goode, known from the Karen Reed case, also known from sharing extremely he's Proctor's friend at work and in private, and shares the same type of opinions as Proctor. He resigned 2 days before Karen Reed's motion to disclose stuff, and also apparently a couple of days before he was set for a hearing with the town of whatevers. So he resigned, and good for him. No, not good for him, but good for the rest of the good for the rest of Massachusetts that he does no longer he can't be a cop. But as I said there, that this doesn't really matter, because unless he gets decertified, he can just grab a new cop job somewhere else in Massachusetts. But that is no longer a possibility, because Sgt Goode, former Sgt Goode, just got decertified. Here is the message from Commonwealth of Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission in the matter of Sean Goode. The Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission hereby suspends the law enforcement certification of respondent Sean Goode. The Commission voted to suspend the respondent certification upon determining that it is in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the public. The respondent suspension is effective upon being received by the respondent or the head of the respondent's law enforcement agency, as defined under MGLC 6E, paragraph 1. The respondent is hereby directed to immediately surrender, and the respondent's agency is directed to collect, without delay, any agent-issued or government-issued permits, credentials, badges, and equipment associated with service as law enforcement officer, including but not limited to any uniform, firearm, assigned cruiser, flashing, rotating, or oscillating blue lights, and use of force instruments such as taser and pepper spray. Additionally, the agency is directed to immediately revoke any such permit. Pursuant to MGL, blah, 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 suspension order of the Commission issued pursuant to Section 9A shall continue in effect until issuance of the final decision of the Commission or until revoked by the Commission. So that's good news. That's really good news. Now, I do believe that Canton themselves made a statement. Here it is. Let me read it to you. The internal affairs investigation involving Sgt Sean Goode was initiated after the town became aware of inappropriate text messages through the DA's office on October 24th, 2025. So, the DA's office told town of Canton October 24th of last year about the Proctor and Goode texts. And then they tried to cover it up for quite some time. Seriously? Let's see, let's continue reading here. Upon learning of the messages, the town placed Sgt Goode on administrative leave, opened an internal affairs investigation, and retained an outside investigator. However, the town did not and still does not possess the messages themselves. So they just became aware, according to them. But the DA's office had them. We know they had them October 24th, 2025. Probably have had them for quite some time before that and refused to hand it over. The town's outside investigator was granted access to the messages in December 2025, subject to a court-issued protective order that strictly restricted dissemination of the messages. The outside investigator was required to review more than 20,000 voice notes and text messages dating back to 2013. As part of the internal affairs process, Sgt Goode's union counsel was also permitted to review the messages in full. The scope of that review, combined with the limitations imposed by the protection order, made the process time intense. Bullshit. Can you hear it? Can you smell it? Bullshit. It sounds like a lot. 20,000 sound, and yeah. Here's the thing. You do a search on specific words, like N-word, like C-word. The text messages between him and Proctor. And if that's all that's basically all they needed. That takes less than a week. Now, if you, after reviewing those, need more, yeah, then it may take time. But in order to find text messages and sound bits between him and Proctor, a week. It took them almost 7 months. And the Internal Affairs investigation still haven't issued their final report. Sgt Goode resigned when it became apparent that he wasn't getting away with it. But these 6-7 months also meant more money to Goode. He was allowed to retire, meaning he gets his pension. Now, I'm not exactly sure if he managed to get past the 20-year mark or not, but he had been on the first trial, Canton retrial, he had been almost 18 years on the force. This is now 2 years and some time later. So it is actually a possibility that this internal investigations that was drawn out for 7 months, 6-7 months, made sure that Sean Goode now has the pension awarded after 20 years on the force. Now he can't get full pension unless he's 55 plus. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but he still get that mark, which means it is higher than if they actually kicked his ass out last year. Which tells me town of Canton and the DA's office protecting Sgt Goode. Let's keep reading here. Sgt Goode was subsequently scheduled for an internal affairs interview, but refused to appear. The town then initiated termination proceedings and placed the appointment of a hearing officer on the June 2nd, 2026. Sgt Board meeting agenda. However, Sgt Goode tendered his resignation on May 29th, 2026, effective June 2nd, before those proceedings could be completed. Under Massachusetts civil service law, the town was required to conduct a full hearing before terminating Sgt Goode. His resignation occurred before that hearing could take place. What a fucking coincidence, right? The Internal Affairs report will be released when finalized and will be a public record, subject to legally required redactions. The report will also be provided to the Peace Officer Standards and Training Post Commission. Claims that the town knowingly ignored misconduct or failed to take these allegations seriously are inconsistent with the actions taken. Oh. Poor us. We had no idea that these people were Nazis. We had no. people like Proctor and Goode are not silent. They express this in texts and in voice. If they think they are safe, they will say all the words. And the town of Canton and the DA's office, the Massachusetts State Police, for at least 20 years have made sure to tell Proctor, Goode, and people like them that it's okay. So saying, "Oh, we didn't know," I call bull crap. Upon learning of the allegation, the town promptly removed Sgt Goode from the workplace, on paid leave, retained an independent investigator, and pursued appropriate personnel action based on the information available throughout the investigative process. Here's the thing, that guy, the independent investigator, does reoccurring reports back to the town of Canton. This is what we found. Do you need more? Now I found this. Do you need more? Now, if these, I don't know if these are part of public record or anything, but making a FOIA requests for the communications between the independent investigator and the town of Canton should be really, really interesting. What else do they say here? The messages are abhorrent, deeply offensive, hateful, and do not reflect the values of the Canton Police Department or its members. Yeah, don't be a fucking moron. This is not new for either the MSP or the locals. It isn't. Stop. Just stop. The men and women of Canton PD are entrusted with serving every member of the community fairly, professionally, and with respect. Oh, really? Like you fuckers did to Karen Reed? Really? 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 Preserving that trust requires accountability, transparency, and adherence to the highest standards of public service. Then put it all out there to the public. Every piece of communication you had with the DA's office, every piece of communication you had with Proctor and Goode before their respective investigations, all of it, from 2022 until today. Make it all public. The town of Canton was the community to know that allegations involving conduct that calls into question the professionalism, integrity, and impartiality of a police officer are taken seriously and addressed in accordance with applicable law and post requirement. So that is the message from them. And I read into that, between the lines, that please don't vote us out. We promise we did all we could. Well, it didn't help with Trooper Proctor and Sgt Goode, did it? Who MSP and others allowed to be semi-Schnazi assholes for almost 20 years. Time to clean up, Canton. Start from the top. Thanks for listening in, folks. That is what I had for you for this time. You all have a good one, and I will see you in the next stream or video. Bye-bye.